What's up YouTube, and welcome to another Doctor Strange video. So if you haven't checked it out, I've got a review up of the flick on the channel, so you can go and check that out if you want after this. But this is going to be my Easter eggs video for Doctor Strange. So there was a pretty few decent ones which I thought were pretty cool, and also let us know exactly when this film is set in the MCU timeline. So let's have a look. So firstly, as we panned over New York, we got to see the Avengers Tower, which is interesting here because really what we were expecting and what we're told was that it's going to take place parallel to the MCU. So it seems like the film actually takes place after the battle in New York, after the Avengers Tower is rebuilt. So that's pretty crazy that it's not the Stark Tower, and we saw another indication later on that this film is set a bit later on than we expected. Now, weirdly, the second reference to Justin Hammer this year for Marvel, because Hammer Industries was mentioned in the whole kind of Luke Cage series. So we got to hear that there is a person who is needing the help of the esteemed surgeon Dr. Stephen Strange here, and that is a person with a crushed lower spine in a experimental armor. So it could be here that it is War Machine himself that is needing help, and also we know that he is kind of going through a sort of therapy later on in Civil War. So the origin of Doctor Strange himself, how he became how he is just like the comics, with this car careering off, and this was the olden days, a high-powered car. So, yeah, he's driving I think it was a Lamborghini in the film here. So, it's pretty accurate, the origin. The Book of Vishanti here is pretty much a big thing in the comics, with Doctor Strange using it to save quite a lot of people throughout his time in, well, comics. So, I expect him to use this a lot more in the later Doctor Strange appearances. Weirdly, Christine Temple in the comics was the night nurse who fixes up superheroes. But we've also got Rosario Dawson's night nurse over on, well, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, soon to be Iron Fist, and obviously the Defenders. And she'll probably turn up in the Punisher as well. So there was a few night nurses actually in the comics, so perhaps we're going to get our own trio of night nurses. The Eye of Agamotto is also a very huge thing in the comics and is featured with Doctor Strange quite a lot. And he uses this to pretty much kick all kinds of ass. Now, interestingly, artifacts are a big thing, but sling rings, they aren't actually a thing in the comics, funnily enough. They're an addition for the film, and they looked really, really cool. I want one. I also loved in this how Wong was so nonchalant, saying you don't want to be walking around with an Infinity Stone around your neck, which is crazy that we've got an Infinity Stone here. I seem to recall before the film actually came out that they wouldn't be featuring one in this movie, but it is the Time Stone here. Obviously, they don't particularly mention that explicitly, but it's kind of obvious because, you know, he's using time powers. So Dormy, the secret second villain of the piece, who we didn't expect to see whatsoever, was introduced in this film and is a very, very big actual Doctor Strange villain who is on par with Baron Mordo. Now, Baron Mordo is different in this because, well, in the film he is an ally and then turns evil in the post-credits. But in the film he is a white guy who is a complete and utter douchebag and actually helps Dormammu in the comics become, well, you know, like his bidding and stuff like that, you know. Kind of a Rita Repulsa deal. So it's kind of crazy that they introduced this so early on. I would have thought they'd save this for a later film. But he also battled Ghost Rider, which gives us that link to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. Also, as a very cool little thing you can tell all your friends about, is the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch provided the voice and the facial capture for Dormammu. So it's very much like Smaug in The Hobbit, where he produced the voice and facial capture for that as well. So it's a neat little thing there. In the New York Sanctum, we weirdly saw a version of the Black Knight's helmet, which is very interesting and obscure Marvel hero. Now, weirdly, quite a major character in the Doctor Strange comic books was featured very briefly as the protector of the New York Sanctum Sanctorum, which is Drum, who is also Voodoo, which is kind of crazy, and he played quite a big role in the whole, really, I'd say, history of the Doctor Strange comic books, and he's also recently in some of the books at the moment. So it's odd to me that they have actually just killed him off like he was nothing. Lastly, the design of the whole kind of, I'd say, multiverse, the weird little things that we see throughout that inhabit the things we can't see, are very reminiscent of the artwork in the comics. I love how it's been so accurate to this. So the movie was pretty much heavily influenced by the miniseries The Oath, which features Nicodemus West, and had a few key parts actually lifted from that into the movie, such as obviously the whole hand operating thing. So we also got the really cool operating scene as well, which I thought was pretty funny in the film, and in general was pretty cool. But that's it for that video. Please do drop a like, please do subscribe. Let me know what you think your favourite part of Doctor Strange was. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.